What's going on, everybody? It's Saturday, 6:30. I might be riding solo because right now Bruce Wayne, aka the Loudmouth, is out and about in Cleveland. So I don't know if he'll be in to do the show, but we won't give it a shot anyway. Other than that, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to that fantasy show. Hope you like the intro. A few more kinks I got to get out of it, but hopefully we'll be able to get that fixed while we're going on. We got a lot to talk about. Preseason finally hit us Thursday. Hall of Fame. We saw the Hall of Fame inductees, and um, it's it's a lot to think about. Definitely want to get into the news and notes first before I really get into the Hall of Fame. Um, First thing we are seeing is that the 49ers are limiting McCaffrey's reps to keep him healthy. So for fantasy users, I don't know if that might. Well, it sounds like a good thing because they know with the lack of receivers, I don't want to say the lack of receivers, but with Debo leaving, I think Ayuk is still injured. Um, I think they know that this season McCaffrey is going to probably be the heavy horse. He's going to be the horse they actually depend on, rely on, and it doesn't make sense to use him. I guess to basically put him to work in preseason and practices, knowing you're about to use him for the actual full season. So I can definitely understand that. Next thing we got is with the Browns. Kenny Pickett had a hamstring injury, so I don't know what that means, but it does mean somebody up in the um, Browns quarterback room just moved up. I don't know the order yet. I'm sure right now it's Joe Flacco. Then maybe it was Kenny Pickett. Maybe Shador Sanders, and then maybe it was I forgot the other kid's name, but I'll find it out eventually. Um, then on top of that, I know if you watched ESPN this week, I guess Dion has been trying to visit his sons. He visited Shiloh at Tampa Bay's camp. He wanted to visit Shador up in Cleveland, and Shador told him not to. And I kind of understand that. I guess he's still trying to focus on getting his stuff out the way, getting his rhythm, getting acclimated with the actual Cleveland's offense and schemes and things like that. And with somebody like Deion Sanders, that's a lot of pressure. I definitely understand him. He pops coming in, and Dion being Dion, he doesn't want to start that. He don't want to. I guess he doesn't. He wants to stay under the radar. Let's keep it like it is. I think Shador wants to stay under the radar. He wants to keep that motivation, or however you want to put it, to where he's not the center of attention. And I definitely give him props on that. So shout out to Shador for trying to stay focused and not trying to be in the limelight. Definitely appreciate that. Now up to my favorite part of the conversation. As you know, I am a Commanders fan. So right now with the Terry McLaurin situation, it's just crazy. So right now, at first he did the sit out, then he actually came in, said something was wrong with his ankles. So on top of that, he basically they put him in the pup list where he's physically unable to perform. But he's still going to the meetings, he's still going through the walkthroughs, he's still trying to get his information. He's still trying to stay active, which I respect. But there's been a request for a trade. And I'm going to say this with all loving and respect. Pay the man. Pay the man. Right now, I got something from Charles saying, "Yeah, give me Terry." No, New England's not. No. I refuse for Terry to struggle like that. Granted, I understand. I'm not gonna lie. You have a lot going. You have Stephon Diggs. You picked up Ramondre Stevens from OSU. Then you still have I forgot the running back that's there. I think that is Ramondre Stevens. My bad. About you still have the running back from OSU. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me. So right now, Bruce is in the comments section. I don't know if we'll see him physically, but he is stating that he is on the show. Travion Henderson, that's who it is. So yeah, thank you, Matt. But yes, I can see y'all have a starting block. But no, we're not giving up Terry. If we're giving up Terry, we're taking Stephon in, we're taking Henderson too. So yeah, if you want to make that deal go through, yeah, make it happen. But we are taking your boys. Terry ain't coming cheap. So yeah, so unfortunately with Bruce, his Wi-Fi sucks where he's at. So we'll be getting a lot of actual type of comments from him through the whole time. So from that end, stay safe where you're at and enjoy where you're at. Hopefully we'll get you next week. But yeah, we definitely want your actual opinions on the show, Bruce. Now, besides Terry McLaurin requesting a trade, Micah Parsons is also requested a trade as well from Dallas. I'm not going to lie, these two players, I don't know what's going on with the organizations, but these are actual cornerstones. Michael Parsons has been, since he's actually stepped on the field, he's been an actual cornerstone for Dallas, at least for the defensive part of it. Secondly, like I said, with McLaurin, again, he's a cornerstone for the Commanders, and he's basically put up 5 consecutive seasons of 1,000-yard receiving yards. He's played with multiple different quarterbacks, so I think now you need to give this man his flowers. I understand what people are probably looking at as to what he's looking at between the actual guaranteed money and the amount of years. And I understand Peterson's looking at it as well. He's about to turn 30. And they both tired of turning 30. And, is he going to be worth the money for that age? I'm not going to lie. I'll probably say for the first few years of that contract, yeah. Terry's going to give you anything and everything he has. Now, Rocky said it best, in case there's left alone. Father Time is undefeated. Now, we all know that Father Time is undefeated. No matter how old you are, it's going to catch up to you. So I get what the Commanders are looking at to say, okay, you know what? We don't know how long we have this guy, so we don't know how much we can guarantee him for. We can do this amount of years, maybe we do that amount of years. But something has to be brought up. To be honestly, I wouldn't mind Parsons coming to the Commanders. And I'm not saying that just to be a Commanders fan, but think about it. Our coach was his defensive coordinator last year. And you've seen the type of year Micah had under him. Now, just imagine him being back with that same coach, with Commanders, with a great offense and a promising defense. I mean, to be honestly, if I was Commanders, I'm trying to find something to bring him here to have him back with his coach. Because I guarantee it, if you put Michael Parsons with the Commanders, with that coach, the defense, I will probably, and I will say this full-heartedly, and I'm sure I'm probably get some flashback on this. You put him with the Commanders, we go Super Bowl. And I guarantee right now, Bruce words, I'll probably get the F out of here. I guarantee those are his first words. But I will say this. And that's my true feeling, because you have the defense to stop Philly. Now you have a guy that is pretty much a run stopper and a pass threat. So, yeah, I figured JT put his words in. But hey, like I said, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna be completely honest. That's my true feelings of it. Now moving on, the next thing we have is Joe Mixon. Like I said, he's pretty much missing. They're pretty much saying with his ankle injury, he's pretty much going to miss the preseason. I can understand that. I can understand, basically keeping him healthy. Why damage something, or why put much work on it while you're in preseason? Get healthy, go through the training, so when we actually have it for the season, you're going to be pretty much big and bad and healthier. But what scares me is that you actually have Nick Chubbs and Woody Marks, a rookie that they drafted. Now with Mixon getting hurt, how far does that take him away from the actual running back roster? Because I'm sure they're doing running back by committee. I'm sure that is basically what it's going to come down to. But how far in the committee is he going down for this? And also fantasy-wise, what does that mean towards picking him? Is he worth drafting earlier, or is that somebody you want to have on your bench and go earlier through the season? Me personally, I would actually hold off getting him as a starter, put him as a flex, maybe on the bench, so that way you at least can strengthen your actual running back game, because there's far more other running backs that would be available. But yeah, JT said it pretty much. Yeah, it means this is going to be a number 2. Like I said, and also it depends on the rookie, because if that rookie is out there doing the damn thing, who knows? He can shoot up to number 1. Now, another thing I actually brought up, and I actually brought this up with First Stream Podcast last week. Treylon Burke got from the actual Titans. He's the corner. He's the wide receiver. He got waived due to his collarbone injury. Now, I guess it's part of it. Basically, the way it's set up, it is set up to be a waive with injury. So what that means is, he can go. They can put him. They can waive him, and if a team takes him, then they take him. But if he's not taken, then he automatically goes in IR. Now, I did ask them. I did have a conversation with First Stream Podcast last week about it, and Al actually gave me some good. It's weird, but he gave me some information that it put chill. It actually gave me goosebumps. And what I mean is that, so I asked them what team would be good for Treylon Burks once he's healthy to play. I actually thought the Commanders might be a good squad, because that means that you actually have more of a wide receiver threat. But from what he said, he basically said Treylon Burks is like the Jamarcus Russell of wide receivers. Now that's saying a lot. That's saying, that's pretty much, and that he actually had info on that. So if Al is saying that, then basically, his sources pretty much is saying that. So he did state that basically his work ethic isn't the greatest. He basically is like just partying, and he's not motivated. Now I'm not gonna lie, I did think that with him being out there and being in free agents being waived, I figured the teams that will probably be good for him will probably be the Patriots, the Bills, or the Steelers. And if he does go to those teams, because if you look at the teams that I stated, you look at the Pats, to where you have Stephon Diggs, you have Drake May, so it gives him that actual chance to restart and be under good leadership. It gives him the chance to actually be maybe that player that he knows that he was before. Because I'm not gonna lie, he's had decent games in with Tennessee. His rookie year, he had Malik Willis as the quarterback. He also had Levis, and I think at the time they still had Calvin Ridley. And at that time he had decent games. It wasn't he had a few 100-yard games. He didn't like blow up, but I mean, he had promise. But I do feel that with these teams, the Pats, the Bills, and the Steelers, they're no nonsense. So if you are going for this team, they're going to make you work. They're going to make you put in the effort. If you ain't trying to put the effort into with any of these teams, it's a wrap. So we'll see how that turns out. Again, the injury took place this week. Not injury, but he was waived this week. We'll see how long that takes and see how it turns out. So right now, that's the actual end of the news and notes. So let's get into what we are about. So we finally got football. It was preseason football, but we finally got some football. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the greatest score. It was 34-7, the Chargers over the Lions. Now, what I would say in the beginning, who impressed me the most was Trey Lance. This kid has not really had a home. So any place that he's gone, he hasn't really had a chance to be at his finest. I think this actually works for him. I'm not saying he's going to take over the show, but he is a great backup to have, especially for the Chargers. When you got a good person like Give me a minute. I know the quarterback's name, but we're just going to go with the quarterback for the Chargers right now. I'm slipping. I should have been more prepared. Hey, it happens. I'm old, brain farts. You see the gray hairs. So we're going to leave it at that. But Charles is saying the Lions didn't play anyone. The Lions didn't play anyone, but the score shows completely different. I mean, let's be real. If you ain't played anyone, but yet you lost 34-7, then I really can't say it. Whether you want to say whether you want to say where they played his third string or whatever, it was dress rehearsal. Bottom line, they got beat. Now, like I said, the person I was really impressed was Trey Lance. Trey Lance, had 2 touchdowns. He looked good out there. Whether it was just for that one quarter or that one series, he actually looked pretty damn good. So if Justin gets hurt, I could see Trey making an actual impact. Would I draft him right off the bat? Absolutely not. I would actually give him a few games, see how he actually goes in the actual regular season. But it would be something about somebody I wouldn't take my eye off. Other than that, with the Lions, you really didn't see anybody that me personally, I didn't really see anybody that was up to the task of really saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to go and grab this kid as a sleeper in fantasy. Maybe we'll find that out further out. Maybe we'll find that person further out through the preseason. But the Hall of Fame game, yeah, I didn't see anybody that was really worth. Oh, I need to check on this person. Now, speaking of the Hall of Fame, let's get to the Hall of Fame list. Let's see. Here's where the actual people that got inducted. So we'll bring that up. Give me a second. So this is this year's Hall of Fame class. Not a big one, but I'd probably say a nice, impactful one. You had Eric Allen, the DB, Jared Allen. We all know Mr. Jared Allen. If you actually got to watch the Hall of Fame, it was pretty cool for the simple fact that he actually had his daughters. He actually committed his daughters, and that was pretty sweet. Antonio Gates was another one that got me because he pretty much gave shout outs to the team. Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, and the whole organization. This dude, I have to give him his props on that. And lastly was Sterling Sharp. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Sterling would go in before Shannon, but Shannon got in before Sterling. We already know Shannon's act is his personality, however you want to put it, pretty much got him over his brother. But shout out to Sterling for finally getting that gold jacket and being with his brother. I did think that the actual presentation in which he gave his brother the actual jacket and, pretty much presented him with that actual jacket by itself. JT put one of the best power forwards in the NFL. No. I'm have to go Gonzalez. I'm still Gonzalez. Gase is number 2, but Gonzalez is number 1. Because Gonzalez was still playing wild way. And on all seasons, I don't know if anybody knew, Antonio Gonzalez was still playing summer league ball with the NBA. So when they did when they do the summer leagues with the rookies and stuff like that, he was actually on the teams for quite a while, for a few seasons. So he played summer league ball in the NBA. So shout out to Antonio Gonzalez. I want to kind of put that out there, and say, yeah, you still doing your thing. You call the your best power, I call him number 2. But now I did have a list. They had the actual potential Hall of Famers that's there for this year. Let me get that real quick. Let's see. JT, again, one of the best. I didn't say the best. Okay, I'll give you that one. So yeah, I'll give you that one. But I'm looking for the where it is. There it is. So right now from this year, you actually have the eligible ones. This year, the 2026 that are now eligible, you have Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Jason Witten, Frank Gore, Julian Edelman, Marquise Pouncey, LaShawn McCoy, Thomas David, Greg Olsen, Alex Smith, Des Bryant, Stephen Gakowski, Geno Atkins, David DeCastro, Mike Pouncey of the Pouncey Twins, Sean Lee, Todd Gurley, and Jarrell Casey. Now, we all know, I'll probably say we already know right now, guaranteed, I'm looking Fitzgerald, Brees, Rivers, Greg Olsen, and I'm not going to lie, maybe because of how he actually pulled it all, or how he actually went through it, Alex Smith. I'm going to give Alex Smith because of the injury. Because of his injury, he's going to the Hall of Fame because of that type of injury. He had the Joe Theismann injury to where his leg was done. And then what made it worse was that he had the actual, he had the, what does I want to say? He had to have surgery because the actual leg got infected. So they had to basically do an emergency procedure to where they had to take they had to actually take, I think some type of muscles from other parts of the body and put that in to replace it. And then on top of that, for a few years, you had to have an actual steel brace on your leg. And I think he had to have that for a few years. And then on top of that, to do all that, you still come back and play. So I will probably say Alex Smith is going to the Hall of Fame simply, I'll probably say right off the bat, simply because of that. Now, JT saying that Rivers is not it's not a first ballot. Out of this list, yes, he is. Yes, he is. I can see there were other quarterbacks in this to where you would think twice. But I can definitely see Breeze and Rivers both getting into the Hall of Fame. I can definitely see Fitzgerald being in the Hall of Fame. I can see Jason Witten. I can probably see maybe Frank Gore. LaShawn McCoy, I'm not going to say now Shady was a badass running back. Let's not take that away from him. But I don't think McCoy had the actual impact in the league, like most running backs. Even Frank Gore, I can't put Frank Gore as a first time ballot. I can see Gore maybe. I can see Gore maybe second run or something like that, depending on the class. Maybe with this class, because of the big names on it, he might slip in, but I don't see him as, I'll probably say if this was a different draft class, then maybe not. But I think he might slip in, but as a guaranteed first ballot, no, I can't give him that. But we'll see. Like I said, on top of we'll see. I do, like I said, I do give Breeze and I do give Rivers, because as much as you want to say because Breeze got a ring and Rivers didn't, Rivers kept that team in playoff. It wasn't like they were being put out the first round every year. Whenever Drew Brees was playing for the Chargers, they pretty much was in playoff contention. So like I said, his impact in the game, and for you to have 10 kids by the same wife, hey, more props to you, because now you staying home and you got 10 kids. Whew. Man, all season must have been fun for Drew Brees. But and so out of that ballot, like I said, who else would you like to see? If you are watching, let me know who else would you like to see in the Hall of Fame. Who should be on this ballot that you feel as though that hasn't had a chance? And remember, they have to be out of the league in, I think, 5 years. So who do you feel that's on this that's not on this ballot that you want to see inducted in the Hall of Fame? Me, I'm gonna tell you my firsthand. Everybody knows, and I'm sure everybody's going to give me flack on it. I want to see McNabb. Yes, I will say I think Donovan McNabb needs to be on that. I don't care what people say about it. My thing is this: when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, he kept that team a contender every year. Every year. So, granted, when he was done, again, like we always say, Father Time's undefeated. Now, when he tells you for years and years he needed weapons, I mean, he's been to numerous conference finals. He might not have won them all, but for him, for the simple fact that he was there almost every year, I basically feel as though, hey, you need to. Now, if you can give Jim, and I'm not taking anything from Jim Kelly, but if you can give Jim Kelly the Hall of Fame, if you can give Thurman Thomas the Hall of Fame, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times and lost. So my thing is, if you can't give McNabb that his flowers to where, hey, he kept the Eagles in playoff contention. They at least was making the championships, the conference championships, 4 years out of his career consistently. Then why not give him his flowers? He won one of them. He might not have beat the Patriots, Charles, but we'll leave it at that. But it was basically one of those. It was one of those runs. So yeah, I definitely feel McNabb needs to make it to the Hall of Fame. Another person I think should be in the Hall of Fame is Art Monk. This man has not been in the Hall of Fame. And no, I'm sorry, not Art Monk. Let me rephrase that, because Art Monk is in the Hall of Fame. My mistake. Brian Mitchell. And I'm going to say that if you don't put him in the Hall of Fame, at least for special teams, this man pretty much changed the game in special teams. This man was a beast. And for him to not be in the Hall of Fame right now is something that's like, wait a minute. So you have all these players from the Redskins / Commanders, but I'll probably say the one person that they've ignored, I don't know why they've ignored him, is Byron Mitchell. And I just, that's another one I would like to see in the Hall of Fame, at least while I'm still alive. Don't dare try to put him in when all of a sudden I die and all of a sudden Brian Mitchell goes in the Hall of Fame. Bad juju. So that's my rant for the Hall of Fame. Next week we'll all have preseason games. We definitely will start talking about preseason and talk about the matchups. I'm trying to think. I guess who do you feel as though the best matchups are? Who are you looking to see perform in preseason? I understand it's basically, certain players, but there's certain rookies that still got to go out there and play, prove themselves. Which rookie do you want to actually see out there to see it? Is it Ashton Genty? Is it Omari Hamilton? I'm not gonna lie, I'm curious to see Jackson Dart. I want to see how he is in preseason with the Giants. So hopefully they'll actually let him in. I definitely want to see how he performs, because it's just seeing him in the actual combine to where he had that Matthew McConaughey vibe to where it's all right. Let's get this done. You want to throw it? You want to throw it? And he was just chilling with it. Just had that swag, that confidence. And it was like, yo, who is this kid? So I definitely, now that he's drafted, because everybody was talking so much about him, it's like, okay, he's with the Giants. Let's see how, I definitely want to see how him and Malik Neighbors work together. Another kid I know we was talking about, what was his name? JT, you was talking about him. It was like he was one of those, he was basically one of those cats that I want to say it was Scatter. I want to say his name was Scatterborough or something like that. His response, he will die, he'll get in. I appreciate that. Thanks. But Scatterborough is another one. He's one of those running backs, so I'm definitely curious to see how he turns out. They're basically saying he's like another Christian McCaffrey. I want to say a poor man's McCaffrey. But he's a baller. So, and outside of that, if you are Madden fans, you are aware that Madden has released the rankings, the ratings, and have also added their 99 club. So, without further ado, let's present you with the 99 club. This is this year's 99 club. So you have Lane Johnson of the Eagles, Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen, and Myles Garrett. Now, I'm sure people are wondering why Mahomes isn't in it. What is Mahomes' ranking? So let's get into the quarterbacks. So here's the quarterbacks rankings. So again, you got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson at 99, Joe Burrows at as I call him, Cody Burrow is at 97, Mahomes is at 95, Stanford's at 88, Goff's at 87, Herbert's 86. Now I'm not gonna lie, Jalen Hurts is the one that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't think he would be that low. I figured Hurts would have probably been like at a 90 or 95. Baker Mayfield at 85, and Jaden Daniels is 85. So again, it's a few that it's some I'm still looking at. Like I said, Jaden I thought would have been after the year he played a little bit higher, maybe a 90, 89, something like that. Mayfield again a little higher. Like I said, Hurts is the one that kind of caught me off guard because I would have figured he would actually had a higher rating. Next, we have the running backs. As you know, Saquon is at 99. Old King Henry's at 98. Jahmyr Gibbs at 95. McCaffrey's at 94. Bijan Robinson's 92. Joe Mixon's 91. Josh Jacobs is 90. James Cook is 89. Jonathan Taylor's 88. And Kenneth Walker's at 88. Running backs, I think they did pretty good. I'm trying to look to see. Yeah, I think they did pretty decent with the actual running backs. Um, like I said, Barkley, we all knew Barkley was going to pretty much, top it off. Henry right behind him. I'm not gonna lie, Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of. I thought it'll be a little bit too high for Gibbs, for the Sonic and Knuckles group. I thought he might be a little bit high. Other than that, like I said, I look at here. I don't see anything wrong with this one. Next, we got the wide receivers. Again, you got Jamar Chase, 99, Justin Jefferson, 99, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 96, CeeDee Lamb, 95, Tyreek Hill, 95, Terry McLaurin, 94. Yeah, I have a few things to say about that, either contract or not. Mike Evans, 93, A.J. Brown, 93, Drake London, 91, Devontae Adams, 90. Now, I will probably say the one I do have an issue with, I think McLaurin would probably been higher, 95, 96. I'm not saying he should have been at 99, but I'd give him right up there next to Amon-Ra St. Brown. A.J. Brown, I don't know if it was dealing with the issues of doing the season, of him complaining and things like that. But at a 93, I feel as though the Dark Knight should have been higher. At least give him a 95. Drake London, like I said, right now, yeah, I agree with the 91 for the simple fact that Atlanta really just hadn't had that actual break. So we really don't know what he's capable of. He's had a few good games, but he hasn't had that breakout game to where, you're looking at him as the man, like, yo, this is the dude, that dude. And Devontae Adams, I'll probably say hanging around with Aaron John Wick Rodgers did kind of mess up that actual setup, because I think the way he played last year, because he was on a losing team and because he wasn't able to perform like he wanted to, that's the reason for the fall. But other than that, I guarantee you probably these are going to go up. Now, just to let you know that this is starting off. So with all these rankings, they can, if you're serious, if you want those serious Madden people, they can go up and down. So throughout the season, they do have actual people that actually monitor how these players are playing, and they have a chance to actually move up in there and actual in their stats. Next, we got tight ends. Tight end. George Kittle at 98, Travis Kelce at 93, Trey McBride's 92, Mark Andrews is 91, Brock Bowers is a 90. David Njoku at 89, TJ Hawkinson's at 88, Dallas Goedert is 87, Sam Laporta is 86, and Evan Ingram is 95. Is at 85. I don't know. Brock Bowers, I thought probably would be higher. I'm not going to lie about that. That's probably the only person I'll probably see. Brock Bowers should be higher at least a 93, 94. David Njoku, I would probably say, should be at a 90. Granted, he's playing for Cleveland, but when he plays, he balls. TJ Hawkinson, Dallas Goedert, and Sam Laporta, I'm not going to understand. Probably a lot of those three will probably hit with the entry bug pretty hard. And Evan Ingram might have a chance to actually go up since he's with Denver. But I can see why he's one of the actual top tight ends. So, I'm sorry. So that is the actual all Madden. That is the all Madden group. How do y'all feel about it? Who you feel should be higher? Who should be lower? Who should have been on there that you don't see as one of the top tight ends or wide receivers or quarterbacks? That's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much that matchup. Now, I will say this, that the Madden rankings and your fantasy teams can pretty much coexist. Because if you're looking on your list, I guarantee you that these are players that you're looking to have in your first round, either that's a first round or part of your team. So on top of that, that's something to look into. Yeah, I kind of blanked off on that. But as of right now, that pretty much wraps up the show. I do have some. I do something. I do want to have a special announcement. I don't know how it's still in the works, but I do want to kind of put it out there. And it's a shout out to First Stream Podcast. So what we will be doing, First Stream Podcast and That Fantasy Show, we'll be doing a fantasy football league together. So the way, hopefully, if the way everything comes down, I will be team fantasy versus, will be a team fantasy division, and they'll have a team first string division. Hopefully, I know I'm going to be in it. I haven't gotten an okay from Bruce yet, Mr. Bruce Wayne. So I wish I could put what you stated on there, but we still got to keep this PG related. So yeah, Bruce Sip was one. Hopefully, y'all might want to, y'all might join into this because I know what they're going to have is First Stream's probably going to have a few of their people, and then we can do like the First Stream division, we can do the fantasy division, so that way at the end, whoever's the top of that, we'll probably try to provide them with some type of prize or something. And then the winner, we'll see we'll decide on how we can do with the winner. But again, that's something we're looking into. It was brought up to me this week. I'm down for it. It'll probably be through either NFL.com or Yahoo.com because I do want people to understand that if you have YouTube TV, and you're into fantasy, you actually have that ability to actually view your scores while you're watching the games. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've been doing that for the past few years, especially when it comes to the Sunday night and Monday night games. If you got close games, you want to have that option to where you can see how everything's turning out instead of constantly checking your phone. You got it right there in front of your screen, so you see how everything's going. JT saying this is his year. All right, then. Let's put them boots to the ground. Throw them fans up. And also, I do have to pick also, when we're doing the show, me and JT do have we usually do our fantasy matchups. So JT will pick his weekly starters of who you think is going to perform. I'm going to pick my weekly starters of who performs. And whoever loses for that. So for some reason, I don't know what happened, but my screen went out. Let me see what's going on. Come on, work for me. I'm sorry, y'all. Just trying to get everything situated on it. Let me see if I can get this out the way. Well, right now I'm just going to keep it going because the show's about to end. So, as I did state, JT and me are doing the weekly matchups to where we will be putting in who we feel as though is going to be the top performer for that week. When week 16 ends, whoever has the worst record will be donning the onesie. I'm sorry, the singlet. Now, if I have to wear the singlet, I'll be doing a 40 time in it. So I'll be running a 40-yard dash in a bright yellow wrestling singlet. If JT happens to lose, he's basically said that he's going to be bowling in it. So he's going to actually do one of those, his Wednesday bowling night, and he's going to actually bowl in it. Now, if y'all need to know where he bowls, it's on Wednesdays. It's up there by in Road. So when that happens, I'll make sure I notify the date that it happens so everybody can actually attend. Root JT on his wrestling singlet. Hopefully he'll pull off a perfect game for us in his singlet. But out of all that, I am gonna close the show off today. Shout out to, as always, I definitely get out a shout out to First String Podcast. You guys help me with the, keep the information going. If y'all haven't seen this they're a fun group. They get the right people in to explain. If you are a Commanders fan, they will actually give you the information for the actual Commanders. Al's there, so Al will pretty much be giving his actual Dallas hater vibes. And, Sid stays true to those Georgia boys. Anything Georgia, he's representing. So, Sid, I got no beef with you. You keep representing them Georgia dogs. You keep representing them Georgia people. Other than that, like I said, before we go, don't forget to don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any questions, definitely hit us up on our Facebook website at Dat Fantasy Show. And y'all just enjoy the weekend. Whether it's nice wherever you are, y'all enjoy your day. Peace.